Hey, Battle Bill here with another video. In today's video, we have another episode of Don't Run That Dumb-ish. Let Battle Bill do it for you. And with today's team, it's featuring the main spice pick of Shadow Shiftry. This is actually a very legitimate spice team comp because I stole it from somebody else. I did not come up with it myself. Shout out to Twitter user MF Gloom, also known as Drivblumen. He was actually able to hit veteran rank with this assortment of mons and Shadow Shiftry in the Summer Cup, which was absolutely insane to me. So I had to take this team for a test run, and I had some success myself also. Not as strong as hitting vet with the team, but we were able to gain some elo, and I had a lot of fun with the battles. Shadow Shiftry can absolutely pop off in the right circumstances, plus it being that grass dark typing, it's covered ABB style with two ghosts behind it so that, you know, there's some counter coverage with all the Vigoroths that are everywhere, along with the doubles and some occasional Obstagoons, because confusion is becoming really popular in this meta now. But without further ado, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is my third video back. I know there was some space between this one and the last one, but they're coming. Patience, it's a virtue. Right now, we have our Shadow Shiftry leaf blading the living heck out of the Shadow Giraffe, which has also been another popular mon, a popular spice mon running this meta. Their last Pokemon was basically dead and we had shield, so that was GG's. On to the next battle. We've got ourselves Shadow Shiftry up against a Ferrothorn. This is actually a positive matchup, especially because a lot of Ferrothorns aren't running Flash Cannon. They'll just build up to the Power Whip and throw that for some reason right away. And as glassy as Shadow Shiftry is, because that's some resisted damage that, you know, hurt, it's still able to survive and it can hold its own against the fast moves. Our opponent then pivots into their Vigoroth, which we have a fantastic answer for in the form of our Jellicent. You want to run Bubble as a fast move in this meta because of the pure fact that there's just so many normal types running rampant, and you want to get some fast move damage off as you're generating energy and then potentially throwing your nuke or your bait move. The Vigoroth is in the red here. We're gonna get off another Surf before they can get another charge move. Did a little bit of some over farming there, and we're fully expecting that Ferrothorn to come back in hopes that we can hopefully get the Shadow Ball off, and our opponent makes a very good play by catching the Shadow Ball on their Toxapex. We don't have a choice but to go into Skeledirge against this Toxapex, and we're actually not in that bad of a situation. That seemed to be a really weird video stutter. Don't know why that happened. We resist the poison jabs because of our ghost typing. We take super effective from the water charge move of Brine, and we're able to basically generate enough energy to get to these Shadow Balls that will take out the Toxapex's remaining health because it had to eat a Shadow Ball earlier from our Jellicent. The Ferrothorn is still alive in the back, but Ferrothorn being that grass steel type, we're not all that concerned about it doing anything to our Dirge or even to our Shiftry. Our opponent going for a very well calculated swap. We expected it. We wait a second. We also pivot. While they pivot, we get our Leaf Blade off, take out the Ferrothorn's remaining health. The Toxapex comes back in, but we have energy because we didn't let them catch. Shady B for the win. Bang! Fire counters water confirmed. Into the next match. Into this next one, we've apparently got me not editing my battles properly. I don't know how I screwed this up, but there we go. We've got Shadow Shiftry up against a Unnovan Stunfisk. Our opponent then pivots into a Toxapex, which we have a solid answer for in the form of our Jellicent. Jellicent resists all the damage from Toxapex, so this should be a very comfortable matchup for us to win, but I'm pretty sure this is the one match where I ended up selling the bag and I ended up screwing this up. Not 100% sure how, so we're gonna watch it back and find out. I get off another Shadow Ball here. They decided to commit a shield. I'm pretty sure I decided to commit a shield because of that. So we're gonna shield this. We're expecting a Sludge Wave. I wasn't counting, which was half of my issue here. We're gonna throw on proper timing, get off another Shadow Ball. This will not take out the Toxapex's remaining health, but in my brain, because they're almost dead, this charge move has to be a Brine, and what we're gonna end up finding out is that it's not a Brine and it's a Sludge Wave, and I still have zero idea on how I lost the one shield matchup there. I'm still confused. Does Toxapex just win the one shields against Jellicent? Regardless, even if I decide to overcommit, this Mantine in the back is still really bad news. It counters our Shiftry. It would counter our Skeledirge. We're gonna find out shortly, even after we pivot and then they swap, that this Mantine is running Water Pulse. They still got alignment too, which makes this even less ideal. The Unnovan Sunfist is gonna cook my Dirge, but they did wait a little while to swap, so we're gonna be able to get off 2 charge moves with some hope that their energy management here was poor and maybe can give us a win con. We are going to shield up this Mud Bomb just because of the fact that we're gonna incinerate this down, and if they did have double moves, we ended up making them waste some energy. The problem is they do have Water Pulse. So I shielded the Mud Bomb just on the off chance they weren't running Water Pulse. Pretty sure Mud Bomb would have done my remaining health. If not, like I would have had a sliver left. Would have gotten taken out by the Mantine, would have lost that matchup regardless, but losing Switch to the Toxapex still has me confused. Either way, great lead in this next match, time to bounce back. Our opponent decides to safe swap into a Rangaroo, and they are not prepared in the slightest for a Shadow Shiftry. They recognize their lack of preparation, decide the top left, and that was the best bounce back match that I could have dreamed of. On to the next one. We've got Shadow Shiftry here going up against a Golisopod. We resist the fast move of Shadow Claw that they're using on us, but we are still worried they're gonna X Scissor or even Aerial Ace. So we pivot out after we land the Leaf Blade. Jellicent, fantastic matchup against Golisopod because we literally resist everything. For some reason, the opponent's staying in. The only thing we don't resist is their fast move. I meant all their charge moves. None of their charge moves are threatening us. So then they pivot into their Vigoroth, and that would explain why they stayed in for as long as they did. They don't have an answer to Jellicent whatsoever. I throw in bad timing there because I'm worried about them getting off a Rock Slide, and I don't want to waste any of my energy here, especially because Vigoroth can be a little annoying to deal with if it's not lined up with our Jellicent in the way that it is. We're going to come in with our Skeledirge, get some solid farm onto the Vigoroth. They threw way too soon here, so we're going to call this double resisted Body Slam because the Skeletor just goes typing, and then they come in with a Shadow Wall Ring. So very thankful that I did not decide to use a shield on a bait move because they didn't even get to the super effective Rock Slide, because Shadow Wall Ring could ruin our life with one Earthquake taking out our Dirge's entire health. Problem is, I'm easily susceptible to baits. And then they catch, which was a really good play by them. They're going to catch this Disarming Voice on their Golisopod that has 0 health. And now we're a little concerned, but we recognize that they need to throw the Earthquake in order to win this because their Wall Rain is just too low of health and they do not have enough energy, and we will just go for a fast move farm down. They get off another Icicle Spear here. They recognize not enough damage, and we end up winning the match. On to the next one. Great lead. Bad swap by me. When a Greedent comes in, and this is the second time I'm seeing this, so I should have known the matchup when, I was playing it through this second time. I gotta stay in with Shiftry a little bit longer, get off at least one Leaf Blade against the Greedent, because Jellicent against Greedent is not a good matchup, and neither is Skeledirge because of the fact that, these Greedents are running Crunch with all the ghost types around. I'm able to at least get 2 Surfs off, and Shiftry is not super worried about Greedent in this meta. We got them low enough where we should be able to snarl down. The problem is they do get off a Body Slam, and Shadow Shiftry is paper mache, so that Body Slam does literally half of our health. But we did lose alignment, but we recognized the comp, which is why we didn't commit any shields or try to go for switch, because this comp is very popular and typically has 2 Pokemon on it that are really weak to Shiftry. The Diggersby here and the Jellicent we saw in the lead. The problem is Diggersby has to be running Fire Punch. It can't be running Scorching Sands and Hyper Beam. It just had to be running Fire Punch, which was a little bit less ideal for us since Fire Punch is super cheap and would absolutely take out our Shiftry's remaining health. But we're going to spam some Leaf Blades and pray that we can somehow catch our move onto the Dirge, which is not what we're able to do. They decide to save their Diggersby's energy. They pivot into their Jellicent. We're going to get off a Shady Bee, which almost takes out their remaining health. And then we recognize, wait, I don't want to get another Incinerate through. I don't want to kill this Jellicent because the Giga Brain top tier play is snarled out the Jellicent, have enough energy for the Leaf Blade, screw their Diggersby's energy, screw their team comp for winning switch and getting alignment. Bang, big Leaf Blade, end up pulling out the match even after my early game mistake. On to the next one. Really bad lead here. We do have 2 answers for this Ariados in the back. Jellicent is the safe swap on this team comp just because we're running Bubble, so there aren't many Pokemon in this meta that wall Jellicent, or at least many Pokemon that are being run that wall Jellicent. The main thing that does would be Shiftry, but outside of the person I sold this team from and me, we're the only motherfuckers running Shadow Shiftry out here, so do with that as you'd like. We're worried about a Hurricane. We want to still play out this matchup and go for Switch, just because obviously Skeledirge on Ariados is a way better matchup than our Shiftry on the Ariados. We end up baiting there, expecting them to shield. Doesn't work out in our favor, so we get off another Surf. This will get the shield just because they're so low, and they also would like to keep alignment. It was a huge call by them. We're going to make a huge call of our own and call their Weather Ball, try to get off another Surf. They end up getting off another Weather Ball just in time. We're going to let them take us out just because I like the idea of having some Shiftry energy against this Ariados. This allows me to get to a foul play before they get off a move, and we're not taking that much damage from their super effective fast move. We get their last shield, and Dirge in a shield advantage scenario where the opponent has no shields is lethal. They end up debuffing us, and then they come in with Dugong, which could have some play.
But then you just look really close at the battle and you recognize this Dugong's running Iron Tail. I'm sorry, your Dugong's running what? What's my elo? I could have sworn this was average elo at this point in the season. There's no way my elo's this low. What was that Dugong doing? What was that trainer doing?
Either way, next match, Shadow Shiftry up against Cradilly here. Good matchup. We spam Leaf Blades. Rock Slide does hurt. Again, Shadow Shiftry, Paper Mache. We do outpace them though because it's straight threes for our Leaf Blade on Shiftry, whereas they have to go 4-3 for their Rock Slides on Cradilly. They then come in with Dirge. We pivot immediately because we do not want to get farmed down. Their last Pokemon's a Quagsire, so this pivot works out amazingly. We get their Quagsire away from our Skeledirge, and we still have a whole Skeledirge and a little bit of a Shiftry to do some damage to their Skeledirge in the back. We also have a shield advantage here, and we're just calling move after move after move. Huge Aquatail call there. I get a little greedy trying to go for energy efficiency. Instead of giving them 2 free moves, I only want to give them 1. We land a Shadow Ball there, which is even more amazing because we have the shield advantage. They don't want to give up their last shield, and we say screw it. We're going to come in with our Shiftry to try and snarl down. They recognize this. They pivot. We're at a huge shield advantage here, even though we don't have the energy advantage because they're a little bit ahead on Incinerates. We don't mind them baiting. All we need is 2 Shadow Balls. There's no way they're going to get off 2 Disarming Voices and then get to a Shadow Ball in time to take us out. So we don't mind getting double baited. That's what I'm known for. I'm baited Bill for a reason. I mean Battle Bill. Sorry. Easy mix-up when I'm shielding so many goddamn non-nuke moves. But regardless, the Dirge is done, the Quag comes in, and we've got our Fire type countering another Water type. Into the next matchup, we have a fantastic lead, but not an amazing swap. They pivot into Pelipper, and our only legitimate answer to this Pelipper is our Jellicent, which is still a super awkward matchup, as you know. Don't want the Hurricane to land. We get baited. It's like I was just talking about being baited or something 5 seconds ago. We shield the Hurricane on the second try, but as you know, with me and running the teams that I run, I love to run Glassy Mons and then not save shields for them, which is happening again here in this match. So now I gotta try and make up for these shields. Jellicent is super healthy. Swampert's not really an answer to Jellicent. We land the Shadow Ball. We get off a Surf. This will hopefully get a shield. It does. We're still in a really awkward spot. Our opponent's over farming. They should only need to throw a Hydro Cannon to take us out. They decide to go for a full Earthquake, which was a crazy move on their part. But the problem is their last Mon is this Toxapex, so it doesn't even matter that they kind of misplayed that and then pivoted right away, just because Shiftry and Dirge in the 0 shields are going to have a very hard time against this Toxapex. Shiftry taking the super effective damage from the poison jabs, Dirge taking super effective from these brines. Our only hope is I can get to a Shadow Ball before they get to another brine after me throwing when I threw. And unfortunately, I just get outpaced. This brine just barely takes me out. I'm gonna get jabbed down, and that last match is over. But on that note, had a ton of fun with this team. Shadow Shiftry, a fantastic and fun glass cannon to run for a lot of success in some Summer Cup battles. It takes a lot of maneuvering, a lot of getting used to. You definitely got to try it for a few battles before you can get the hang of it. Not an easy team to run, but shout out to the homie Drift Bloomin' for the team comp. If you have any other suggestions for spice mons or crazy unique mons for me to run in either Summer Cup and Master League, by all means, leave them in the comments section below.
But on that note, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Preach!